Thank you, Scott, for coming through and talking to us. If I wanted to put money on an African team becoming world champions, who would be the best bet?
Geez, Godfrey, it's a tough one. If you look at the odds, Senegal are the most favored, but you still get 149 to 1 on them to win. So next out of the African teams is Egypt and Nigeria at nearly 200 to 1. So to be honest, we aren't giving many of the African teams much of a chance, but there's plenty of other markets that you can bet on to follow your favorite African team. Nigeria to qualify from their group, you'll get 2.3 to 1, 9 to 1 for them to get to the quarterfinals. So maybe that would be a bit of fun to watch them with the bet behind that.
Yeah, Scott, but I'm sure you don't want me to remind you about Leicester City and what happened thereafter. So I am going to take out my 200 to 1 and punt on Nigeria or Egypt potentially becoming world champions. Who knows? Miracles still do happen.
Good. Love that. Love to see that. Really great.
Okay, so let's talk about betting patterns. What are you seeing in terms of interest in the World Cup from an African perspective?
To be honest, we aren't taking much on the African teams at the moment.
Wow.
Like I said, the odds are really. I'm sure we will take a lot of money on them when it comes to the matches. At the moment, we're kind of more focused on the outright markets.
Right.
A few people interested in those markets with the African teams qualifying, getting through their groups. It's always great in the World Cup to get behind our African teams, and there is always one or two who get through. So those markets taking a little bit of action. I think there's a hell of a lot of excitement about Nigeria, particularly with the awesome new kits that they have. Creating really a lot of noise all around the world. So I'm really hoping that they have a great cut, and I'm sure we'll take a lot of money on them.
Yeah. What other products do you have? Do you have, for instance, maybe a top African scorer at the World Cup or something like that?
Godfrey, we've got so many different markets, all sorts of things.
Just a few, yeah.
I can't even go into now, but obviously Mo Salah is the African player who's most likely to score the most goals. He's still 39 to 1 to win the Golden Boot, so not much of a chance. But like I say, Senegal are the favourites out of all the African teams. They've got quite a favourable group. So as a Liverpool supporter, to have Mane and Salah both there is great. I think they're going to score a lot of goals.
Absolutely. So overall, though, on the World Cup, where is the smart money going about who is going to be taking it?
So we've actually been taking quite a lot of money on Belgium up till now. They're 11 to 1. Obviously, a squad packed with a lot of stars, and they've even been able to leave out players the quality of Nainggolan, and they really have an excellent team. So we've been taking a lot of money on them. Brazil are the favourites at 4 to 1. Germany second favourites at 9 to 2. So at those odds, we're not taking much on them yet. We've also taken quite a lot on Argentina at 9 to 1 and England at 17 to 1. Actually, if you sign up with bet.co.za, today, you actually get a free bet on England at 17 to 1. So you could get 850 Rand for free, although they probably won't win.
I'm surprised about Argentina at 9 to 1 with Lionel Messi in that lineup. And I'm also surprised that you're not talking about Portugal with that man who thinks the world is centered around him. I won't mention his name.
Well, look, at the end of the day, both of those teams rely very heavily on those massive stars, Ronaldo and Messi. That's probably why you don't get the best odds on them. From my perspective, I'd love to see Messi lift the trophy and prove once for all that he's better than Ronaldo.
Absolutely. And in terms of the other teams, I'm not hearing you talk about Germany. That's a surprise, surely. They're the defending champions, and as we keep saying year after year after year, they have the mentality of winners.
Yeah. Look, I mean, they are the second favourites at 9 to 2. Always a good bet, Germany in the World Cup. I actually see a bit of value on Timo Werner, who's probably going to be their starting striker. You'll get 14 to 1 on him to be the top goal scorer in the tournament. if you think of a player like Klose, who played for Germany for many years and really scored a lot of goals in World Cups, I think Werner is perhaps the next guy to do the same.